Welcome back, Houston Hacks fans. It is week number 8, and we are taking on Abird, aka the Regional Birds. Very, very scary team, and honestly, I've never beaten Abird by more than 1-0. I haven't lost yet, but 1-0, it's always scary. Every single time I play him, he's always got something super, super scary. And this week is nothing different from him. So, again, looking at his team, one turn set up. I've seen him do Sigilith with setup. He's got a Trick Room option. He just got Gastrodon, which is a pretty big threat, especially defensively. Togekiss can run Nasty Plot. Duraludon's an instant threat, and then Conkeldurr's got Mach Punch and always can hit hard as well. So he's got a lot of options, honestly. Something that jumps out to me right away is that he doesn't have a Mon faster than 97, which means Mew doesn't have to gain any speed to just run through his team. So initially looking at his team, I knew at 100 speed with a Nasty Plot or an SD, Mew could potentially do it for me this week, especially with all the crazy coverage that Mew gets. Other things, Arcanine, Fire type is actually really, really good against him, especially on the special side. Physically, Fire works well too. Gastrodon is definitely a great answer to my Arcanine, but I know I have run Solar Beam in the past, so just looking for a way to hit his team as hard as I can. So Arcanine does look like a good option. Grimmsnarl, as always, especially with offensive Mew, pairs very, very nicely with the screens, as well as having Darkest Lariat. Now, Darkest Lariat is awesome because Mon's like Sigilith, and Mon's like Renequist can't just set up their acid armors or set up their mega defense and then just sweep you that way. So I knew I wanted to bring Darkest Lariat and Grimmsnarl, and then the rest I had to just figure out. Again, Jolteon's faster than everybody on his team. It looks like his ground type is Gastrodon, and unfortunately, Jolteon just really can't do anything to Gastrodon pivoting in. The best thing Jolteon could do is yawn, but that means I'd have to predict correctly and get that yawn off and try to get it to sleep. So Jolteon, good Mon overall, just didn't see how awesome it was going to be. I knew Piloswine had a decent setup, or at least a decent physical defensive check to like Frostmoth, as well as just having some priority against his team. Piloswine, definitely something that could take on Togekiss. And then Toxicroak, I'll show you my Toxicroak set here in a minute. But aka Lucario Light has a ton of priority. And so having priority against the birds is key because Cloyster sets up and wins. Frostmoth sets up and wins. So you have to be prepared for both of those. Claydol has a pretty good speed tier in this matchup, which I tried to take advantage of. And then Drampa, I think in hindsight, had a pretty good opportunity. I was a little bit scared of Dusclops, so I knew I needed to bring a decent amount of coverage. And I really did have Drampa on my team until the last second. But then I wound up not bringing it. I did not bring Golisopod as I had enough priority on other parts of my team as well as Cloyster. Golisopod just couldn't hit it hard enough. And then Togetic, I looked into running the Nasty Plot set actually, but it just was not good enough. So let's go to the team builder here. And so Grimmsnarl, we brought screens to support the offensive Mew. As you can see here, I did bring Nasty Plot Mew with enough coverage to pretty much kill everything on his team. Rock moves being which could hit almost everything on his team, which was huge. But then having screens to let the Mew set up a little bit easier. And then I brought Taunt. I thought about bringing Power Whip on Grimmsnarl, but Taunt was just a way that I could deal with the nasty Gastrodon. I knew he could just set up and heal all the time on me, so I knew I needed something to deal with that thing, so it couldn't just set up. So that's why I brought Taunt. And then having Reflect was very, very nice as well. Moving over to Arcanine. Arcanine, very good Pokemon. in the fact that I could utilize extreme speed. I knew a couple of his mons may run sash or may have potential to get down to very, very low health, and so I needed that extreme speed to pick off low health mons. So extreme speed plus flamethrower hit his entire team, except for obviously the Gastrodon, which was a problem, and that's why I ran the Sunny Day Solar Beam set. I definitely would have been better off running like a Power Herb here, or running the or running Shuka Berry, because unfortunately, my team did not want to switch into an Earthquake or a Scald, and I didn't bring Drampa to take the Scald, so it actually, luckily I didn't get O-Code by the Gastrodon. It did a ton of damage, but luckily I didn't get O-Code, but definitely a big threat for sure. Looking at Pillow Swine was my special check to Togekiss, being able to take those air slashes in case he was scarfed, and then hopefully almost Oko back with Avalanche. I decided to run all attacks on this mon, as I really wanted to keep the Ice Shard for priority, and then Earthquake just had decent coverage against his team. Freeze Dry being my option against Gastrodon to do about 40% if it was max specially defensive. Pilliswine, just a good overall mon. I kind of wish I would have brought rocks on it, but the reason I didn't bring rocks is because I brought the Claydol. Okay, Claydol was going to be my rocks, and also my check to Cloyster, as well as the Frostmoth. So Claydol having Rock Slide to Oko the Frostmoth, and then Grass Knot to Oko the Cloyster was really, really nice. I wish I would have had some way to save it, as I had to Grass Knot and then immediately switch into a different Pokemon. So unfortunately, Claydol was not able to survive the. We'll see in a second when he does wind up leading Cloyster. I thought about switching, trying to preserve it, as I thought it definitely had opportunities, and rocks were really good against my opponent's team this week. But this mon, once we go to the Toxicroak, very, very good Pokemon, very threatening mon, as I was able to bring a decent amount of coverage in Throat Chop and in Gunk Shot for the Togekiss. But then I'm able to have Bullet Punch to kill his Frostmoth, and Vacuum Wave, which could Oko his Cloyster. I didn't have to run any special attack for that Vacuum Wave, as his Cloyster had to go down to -1 on Shell Smash. If he would have went Power Herb, then it would have been fine, because my Claydol could have just killed it with Grass Knot immediately. And then I ran just enough speed to outspeed the Cloyster and the Frostmoth. So on the Claydol, of course. So again, pretty good setup. I felt pretty comfortable about this game. Not super threatened, but I knew if I messed up a turn or two, I could easily lose the game. All right, so let's get to the game. I knew I wanted to lead my Claydol in case he brought any of his sweepers right away, which he usually does. He usually likes to lead his sweepers, being Cloyster and the Frostmoth, immediately. We have seen him lead the Sigilyph as well right away, just so he usually likes to threaten right away, see if he can get that 6-0. But then after that, he plays the game fairly normally, looking for his sweepers to get in. So I knew I couldn't allow this to happen. If he would have led anything else besides these big three, I definitely would have gotten rocks up for free, which would have been nice, because his team is 4 of them are weak to rocks. So that would have been huge to do that. But I knew I have the Grass Knot for a reason, so I go for the Grass Knot, not to do anything too crazy. I did outspeed. He goes for the Shell Smash, and I know I have enough priority on my team to deal with the Cloyster. I thought about switching into Arcanine, as it would have survived the Icicle Spear, but I didn't want to take a water move if he chose to go for one. Bring in the Arcanine, go for the extreme speed, take out his Cloyster, and then he goes into the Morpeko. I decided to just Flamethrower here. Trying to catch something, as I felt like the Morpeko could not do a ton of damage to me. And Parting Shot was a good move by his part. Now, here's where I wish I would have had Shuka Berry. If I had Shuka Berry, that would have been really, really nice, as I could have eaten that Earthquake fairly well, gotten off my Sunny Day. Or if I had Power Herb, I would have just killed the Gastrodon. So, again, me getting a little bit too crafty. I wanted to run the Passo Berry just in case, because originally I had the Arcanine as my lead. and I wanted to run the Passelberry to survive the water type attack, and then go for the flamethrower into extreme speed to kill the Cloyster. But unfortunately, I did not think about the set as much as I probably should have, as he has a pretty free earthquake since I didn't have anything after Clay at all to dodge the earthquake. Regardless, we do get off a solar beam on the Sigilith. He does wind up going for the defense boosting cosmic power, but I do have the Dark Lariat to hit him with. Now, luckily, my Dark Lariat is as much power as it possibly can be without being like choice band, and I'm able to get a nice taunt off to keep the Gastrodon low. This becomes really, really key later in the game to keep this Gastrodon low. Togekiss actually takes a decent amount as well. I did not expect him to take that much damage. He winds up going for the substitute here. I bring in my Piloswine. And I debate going for the Ice Shard. It was a really, really good roll to break it. Luckily, I never get flinched. And I'm able to get off my Avalanche. Now, I go for Avalanche again. It's only 60 power unless you take damage. And I know I just need to get this thing down to around the 60% range in order to kill it with Bullet Punch later. So here I knew I could not, I would have lived a Bug Buzz no matter what. And so I just go for the Avalanche. I switch into my Toxicroak as I knew it wouldn't take very much damage. And I didn't get O-Code by Ice Beam either. And now I'm able to get off the sneaky Bullet Punch. He goes for Morpeko. I decided to just take my Vacuum Wave damage on the Morpeko. He gets a kill in Aurora Wheel, which is a great move by his part. But I'm able to bring in my Arcanine, go for the extreme speed here. He does wind up switching, so we get a little bit of chip damage off on the Sigilith. We go immediately into Grimmsnarl, and he makes a great prediction and goes for the Flash Cannon. But I know right here, if I get the light screen off, my Mew is going to have a very, very good chance to sweep, as I don't think the Morpeko is running Choice Scarf. So I do go for the Nasty Plot. I'm able to finish off the Sigilith with my Rock move. Here's a great tech by him. I did not bring a great Gas move because I thought I would just keep Nasty Plotting on the Gastrodon. Luckily, I do go for the damage, and I'm able to kill the Gastrodon. And then the Togekiss can't do enough damage because I'm behind light screen. So I'm able to kill the Togekiss as well. And then luckily, I am faster than the Morpeko. So finally, Loki, my Mew, able to pick up a few kills. It's been a long time coming. I feel like I haven't been able to play my Mew very well up until this point, at least offensively, getting it set up for the victory. So feels good to have the Mew get 4 kills here, and then giving one more kill to my Arcanine as well as my Toxicroak. Claydol, as usual, and my Grimmsnarl, both of which support the team and then wind up dying. They really did do their job, so I was pretty happy with overall my team's performance. I think it went to plan. I think I could have made my Arcanine a little bit craftier, a little bit better, or at least consistently better. Not that the Passelberry was the worst item in the world, but it just turned out that I probably should have had Shuka and or Power Herb. So super fun game, great game, Abird. Good luck to you in the future, and shout out to Nutshack because you are next on the list, man. Next on the list. So he's got a very scary team. I'm pretty excited to go up against him. And then, the season's starting to wind down. I just have the Copper in Ben's team that he's coaching, and then I end the season with the last year's championship match against Henrik. So I'm really, really looking forward to that match as well. So good luck to everybody in the league, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.